Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This week we are going to take a break from the Cobra, and it's time to give a long overdue review after 3 years of having my Jeep Gladiator Rubicon. So let's get started. I'm going to go over what all it has, what it's equipped, what I've done to it, likes, problems I've had, concerns in the future, things along those lines. So get ready to follow along and get this 3-year review started. All right, so real quick, here is how it stands at this point in time. Again, 2020 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon, pretty well loaded. I will show you the spec sheet here in just a minute. As far as mods and upgrades go, a few aesthetic things, as you can see, the grill insert, done, some like the handles inside and whatnot, tonneau cover. Big hitters that have been the most enjoyable mods. Top one is what you see up there, Best Top Sunrider. That thing is the best bang for the buck. It's so nice to get in this truck and just be able to flip the top back after undoing 2 latches, not have to worry about throwing freedom panels somewhere. So worth the money. I did get the matching Best Top tonneau cover as well. Other mods, I have got rock slides from Rock Hard. These are, I got them because they are like the burliest slides out there. They actually add additional mounts to the body versus a lot of the others. So, I mean, you can pretty much lift the truck up off of these. As far as quality, I mean, fit and finish was pretty good. Did have to do, a little opening up of some of the mounting holes on the pinch weld. I do have some concerns with them, is they've kind of oxidized after, and they've only been on for about a year. But the thing's dirty right now, somewhat dirty, so it's hard to tell, but there's like a haze on the paint. So a little worried about that. And then I also put grip tape on them and it's already wearing through after a year, but that's not their fault, that's mine. Also, truck has a 2.5-inch spacer lift from Rough Country on the front, which you will be able to see through here. There's the spacers, they're the pucks, and then it comes with the different sway bar arms just to extend things out a little bit. So I got those on the front, and on the rear I have also spacers in the spring perch that you can kind of see there. They're like a 1 1/8 if I remember right, or 1 3/8. I can't remember off the top of my head. So, but those are the biggest mods I have on this. Lift spacers, the side steps / lift bars, rock guards, and then the Best Top Sunrider and the tonneau cover. So that's it as far as big hitter upgrades go. Let me go over some of the features that the thing has. All right, quick overview of the interior. I do have phone mount up there for when I'm going off-road or whatnot. If you follow my channel, you've seen some videos of that. As I said before, I've got the handles, grab handles that I put on. Those are the Mopar ones. They did work with the Best Top, even though it says they don't. In the back, I do have a sling from a dog. So that's, nice little thing to have. I do have this little armrest cover I got off Amazon. You can probably tell in the video it's a little faded already. Again, 3 years old, but it's definitely faded. It's not black like it used to be. I did also put on the Mopar sill protectors front and rear. It came with the Jeep floor mats all the way throughout. But that's about it as far as the interior mods go. As I said, I would show, what this thing did come with. So here's the original window sticker for it. It's pretty well modded. Like I said, it's got premium audio, cold weather package, multiple other things. So it was pretty well specced out. The biggest thing it didn't have is leather, which I didn't want. So pretty well trimmed when I got it. So yeah, that is pretty much the overview of my truck as it sits. One thing I did want to also add and confirm is the rear springs. Forgot to mention this in the last segment. They are from Icon, and yes, they are 1 3/8, just short of 1 1/2. So it kind of gives it a level look. So that being said, now I've kind of given the overview of the truck and what all it has. I'm going to start with some of the issues, concerns, things along those lines. All right, so we're going to start with issues and problems. This is going to include things I've personally experienced, as well as things I have concerns with, because they seem to be common occurrences. First one, and I believe this only goes with 2020 models, it has to do with the steering. Unfortunately, the 2020 models came with a aluminum steering box, and they tend to be very wandery out of the box. I experienced this day one with this truck. Driving home on the highway from the dealership, it was all over the place. It seems to be more prevalent on Rubicons or ones that are lifted, have bigger wheels, because it's more weight fighting the steering box. But the fix is they do swap the aluminum case for an iron case, and I think that became standard on the 21s and beyond because this was a problem. There is a service bulletin for it, so if you do have this, you can have the aluminum box replaced with the iron one, and it should be covered by Jeep. All right, next thing on the list, and this is one that I am currently experiencing, and this has to do with cold start, really bad valve train noise. And there is, I've seen a lot of reports of people that have ended up having, valve train failures over time, camshafts going out, rocker arms breaking, things like that. But major catastrophic damage due to this, or at least it seems to be tied to this. And I believe the cause is right there. The oil filter that these use is a cartridge type that sits on top of the engine, does not have an anti-drain back valve like a traditional filter would. So you have, at a moment of cold start, you have oilless or, no oil pressure for a few seconds. And, if you put it in drive right away or, don't let it get pressure built up, that's a lot of load on things that don't have a good oil control going on. So there are fixes for this from what I can tell. I mean, at least they're advertised as fixes. Baxter has a replacement that actually replaces the cartridge or the filter housing top that you see there with an aluminum piece that screws in, and then you put a traditional oil filter on top of that. It does kind of add some wonkiness to doing oil changes because you have to have air pressure to relieve the oil that's in it, or else you're going to make a mess. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. I would love to see, and this ties into another problem, is the actual lower portion of that housing, which you can't see under the intake manifold. It's made of plastic, and it's where the oil cooler is. It tends to crack over time. I would love to see somebody come out with a all metal replacement for that has a screw-on filter and some sort of housing or something that'll trap the oil from going all over the place. I mean, like Subarus, their oil filters are on top of the engine, and they have a little basin or whatever you want to call it that keeps the oil from being too messy when you take the filter off. Dorman makes a metal replacement for the oil cooler housing, but it still uses the same insert cartridge. So it'd be nice if those two companies would get together and come out with a screw-on type. But anyway, I'm going to use my remote start and see if you can hear the clanking here. Again, it's on cold starts with these engines. Hopefully you'll pick it up, and we'll see. You should have heard it there for the first few seconds. It was really, really diesel sounding, and then it goes away once the pressure builds up. But that is the potential problem with the oiling. All right, number 3, and this is another one that I've experienced, has to do with the back glass. This is for hard tops only, obviously, but this back glass is encapsulated, and it has a plastic frame that holds it into the actual top, and it's bonded into place. What happens is over time it develops cracks, and then you have water that leaks in on the inside. From my experience, I had my first issues with this after my second winter of owning the vehicle, and I think that's what plays a big part in it is hot-cold temperature changes. I think water gets up in the channel up here, sits up there, and as it freezes when it gets cold outside, it causes expansion that causes cracks in the plastic framework for the back window. This is actually a problem with Rams too. There's a class action lawsuit Ram owners have for this, but there's none so far for Jeeps. So I had this replaced once after 2 years. To have it replaced, it normally does not go well because they have to shatter the glass to get it out. They normally damage your top, which they did with mine, and it had to be repainted. It is not a fun experience. They replaced it, and a year later I had the same problem. So as you can see here, and if you follow my channel, you'll have seen previous videos on this, I now have a silicone vacuum line that I have embedded all the way around to keep water out. So far, I have not had a drop of water inside. We'll see how it makes it through this winter. Hopefully I'll have good things to report come springtime and there won't be any additional problems, but that should be the best solution, versus having to spend, over $1,000 to have the window replaced on my own because it's now out of warranty. This is probably the way I'm gonna go. All right, fourth thing I want to discuss is the glass in Jeeps, and this is pretty much all Jeeps, not just the Gladiator, but Jeeps are basically shaped like bricks, so you can expect that you will have windshield damage. This is the nice one I have here. Got hit by a rock on the highway. Thankfully it's below my line of sight, so I'm just going to live with it till it either spreads and becomes difficult to see, or more damage happens, and then I'll replace it at that time. Gorilla Glass is available. This does not have that. I've heard mixed reviews on it, if it's worth the money or not. I don't plan on going that route, but I at least wanted to bring this to your attention because it is something that you will have to budget for if you do buy a Jeep. All right, and then the last thing I want to cover at this time has to do with corrosion and just paint issues in general that these things tend to have. You'll see, this is my truck. It's 3 years old. It has 12,800 miles on it, roughly. The frame was like that within a year. Corrosion in spots. It's a Rubicon, so it has these rear steps. These were both rusting out. The brackets, I've actually gone over them with POR 15 since. They were completely rusting in all the welds within a year. You can see it on control arms and whatnot. There's a lot of rust going on. And some is expected over time, but it happened pretty quick. So that's one thing to be a little concerned about as far as corrosion. The other thing that these things are known for has to do with paint bubbling. And here's a spot where you can see it right here on my door. This one's starting to get a bubble there. It seems that Jeep, all these parts are made of aluminum, and they didn't know how to paint aluminum. So it's very common to see paint issues where the paint starts bubbling and oxidizing underneath, or where it's on the aluminum panels, and it'll just start bubbling and peeling. There is a warranty on those. I think it lasts. That's the 5-year, 60,000 mile warranty, I think is how long it's covered. So it's probably something that I will take this to the dealership if I hang on to it before my 5 years is up, because I won't hit 60,000 miles first, that's for sure. And see about having that addressed. Allegedly they will repaint the panels, but again, who knows if it will come back over time. So the paint corrosion issues, that is definitely something to be concerned with if you buy a Jeep product. All right, so that covers all the things that I can really document that I've experienced. I guess some of the other concerns pretty much just have to do with just overall general fit, finish, reliability. There's other issues I've read about, heard about, things along those lines with drivetrain, axles, transmission, things like that, but none of those I've experienced personally. As far as, the ownership experience, on road trips, probably not the best vehicle. If you have something a little more comfortable and you're not going somewhere where you're going wheeling, I'd probably take that. This on like a 12-hour drive, not the most comfortable, a little loud. Gas mileage, it's amazing the difference between going 70 and 75. It drops drastically in that 5-mile-an-hour range when you go to 75 from 70. You're talking like a 4 to 5 mile per gallon difference. It's pretty crazy. At least that's what I've noticed on the highway, in higher speed limit zones. Again, the noise, the actual ride itself, not the best road trip vehicle. For me, I don't mind it so much. Others might. So just something to think about. All right, so now let's go on to what I like about it. Probably the first thing is there's no other truck out there that is like it. You can't just flip the roof open, take the doors off on any other truck on the market. So, you know, if you want a truck and you want to have that open top experience, this is your only option, and it is very nice. I'll be honest, I've never personally driven it with the doors off or the back off, but it is wonderful to get in it and flip back open the Sunrider. So that's a huge win right there. Styling, again, nothing like it on the road. You know, if you like the Jeep styling, this is your only real option to have anything like that that's got a pickup bed on the back. Definitely a big win from that aspect. The thing just looks really nice and burly. Love the stance. That's a big win for me. Off-road capability of this thing, before I even have the lift kit on it, I was amazed at what it would go through when I went wheeling. It's pretty stout. You know, its only real issue is, you know, it gets, you know, caught up in the center a little bit just because of the long wheelbase. So if you're going up a steeper incline or over, you know, sharp tall object, you definitely might bottom out in the middle, which I've experienced a few times. But you know, that's what you're gonna have with this wheelbase. It doesn't have the short wheelbase of a Wrangler. So but other than that, you know, it's great off-road, and it's you know, a blast to drive. All right, so time to wrap this up. I've had this, like I said, 3 years. It was obtained on a 4-year lease. My plan was to lease it for the 4 years and then buy it at the end of the 4-year lease. That was actually more cost effective versus just purchasing it up front, because at that time we had pretty good rates going on used vehicles. Since then, you know, the economy has shifted, we'll say, and rates are nowhere near as good. So I'm not sure if it's going to be as cost effective when this lease runs up in a year to purchase it at that point in time. So either way, I have a really good buyout on it. So I'll probably buy it and either sell it or buy it and keep it. Not 100% sure. I guess I'll just kind of see how the next few months go. And when July of 24 pops up, then I'll make my decision at that point in time. So like I said, I do love the truck. It's a great truck. I do have the concerns though about, you know, future engine longevity, transmission longevity, and just how the body's gonna hold up over time. My plan, again, off the bat, was to buy this thing and hang on to it for a real long time. I wanted to just, you know, get it paid off and have something that I could just keep driving and not have a payment anymore and be done with it. But not sure if that is gonna happen with this truck. So I think that is where I'm gonna end this. Hopefully you find this informative. If you do, please hit like. I'd appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments, want to share your thoughts, definitely leave them in the comment section. I do review them. I will respond. You know, and that being said, you know, keep your eyes open on the channel. There's going to be more coming up on this probably down the road, as well as the Cobra and MR2. You know, popping up a lot of stuff on those as time goes on. So thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.